Hey guys, it's kind of gray and cloudy here in the Midwest, so I wanted to do something a little different today. Uh, we're going to call this episode Season of the Stone, Episode 1. And basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about a stone each episode that I found through some of my research and stuff. And I'll talk a little bit about each one and just kind of to get through the gray days of January and stuff where we can't go out flying and stuff like that. So I thought maybe some of you might find it interesting. So I've always kind of wanted to take my viewers into the past a little bit, and this is a good opportunity. Basically, I decided to set up the DJI Osmo Pocket, and I wanted to talk about one of my very first stones. This is actually the very first carved rock that I found. I've always been interested in arrowheads and the history where I grew up. And growing up, actually, I grew up on a farm with about 10 or 11 acres, and we as kids would hunt and hunt and hunt, never find nothing. And as I got older, it was still a struggle to find any arrowheads. I think because some of the earlier farmers actually were able to get in there and find them when they were still fresh. So if you're lucky enough to find arrowheads still in spots, that's a wonderful thing. So one day I was out hunting arrowheads and I found this particular stone here. And I thought, well, that looks like a tool. It seems like it would fit right in my hand pretty good. Thumb fit here, or turn it around. Actually, notice a little notch right here. Thumb fits nice there. First finger, middle finger, ring finger, pinky. Perfect tool is what I thought. But then I also noticed something looked different about it. So it was a lot of mud on it. I wanted to take it home and get it cleaned up. So I did. When I did clean it up, something kept catching my eye. And I'm going to keep this short and sweet. Basically, on this particular stone, what caught my eye, you may see it and others may not see it. It's not uncommon. Not everybody can see carved rocks. Not everybody can tell if a stone's actually been carved. Many scientists, I guess you might want to call them, other researchers will tell you it's all natural. That didn't just happen. Well, I disagree. And that's great. And that's what the neat thing about this story of the stones is we can all agree or disagree. A lot of things can be natural or made by man, or machines may have bumped into this rock along the way. But there's other things that we need to look at that maybe tell us different. We know from history and finding arrowheads and by people dating them that they go back thousands of years, 10,000 years. This particular one was dated. I want to give a big shout out to a page that I'm involved with on Facebook. It's a group called Rock Hunters, and they're researchers that scour through their fields or their water beds looking for history. People don't realize it, but these rocks lay right underneath our feet, and many of these cornfields that were once rich in Native American history actually go back even further than that. So what I noticed here is I noticed this looked like resembled a body, an arm, a head, well-defined head, shoulders, thigh, a leg, perhaps a foot, almost like he's in motion. His arm that comes down here has a weapon. This is actually a very well-defined arrow, if you were to take an arrow. This looks like a tomahawk, smoke, and a squirrel or a bird. This would be the head. These would be the wings, the body. Now, some may be able to see that. Exactly what I explained there. What makes it fun is why I call them turning stones. Over a couple thousand years ago and up, humans carved stones for tools, for gifts, for whatever they may need them for, they carved into stones. And a lot of times, this was their artwork. Uh, I've found. So like this stone here, you see what I pointed out, the human figure. He has a weapon of some sort, an animal. This is his prey. Now, when you turn the stone, use your imagination. You know how we carve pumpkins in how near Halloween and stuff. Well, they probably did that, but this is what they also did is they would use the rock to create their art. So the bird now becomes hair, an eye, a nose, and a mouth. The early man wanted us to use our imagination. Again, so there's a face. Turn it this way. It's what I originally suggested. I think it is. Turn it this way, and it becomes a face again if you use your imagination. Hair, eye, nose, mouth. Very abstract, but it kind of makes sense. Turning stones. Just as we would do in Halloween, is what they did. Now, I feel that not everybody carved stones. Again, this was a very tool-like stone. It's sharp on this end, so it could have been used to kill an animal. Who knows? The unique thing about this stone, and I don't know how well the camera will get it. I hope it does. There's a couple little markings here, and they're kind of shiny if the light hits them just right. One right here, which when you use a microscope resembles a fingerprint. They may have used ochre. This is very red, you may notice. If you see it seen it in person, it's kind of got a darker color. It's not black, but it's kind of got a deep red in it, tinge to it. My thought is they used ochre or of some sort, and you can even see a little spot was maybe spilled here. It's shiny. But all those years, this was preserved under the ground, basically. And I feel that the early man wanted us to find these particular stones and learn about them. Not just arrowheads. We knew they were talented, and we found out that we can date these. And this particular one, again, was dated back 10,000 years ago. Well, this could be easily 10,000 years old and handed down to the generations. Through the group Rock Hunters, I've learned that it's becoming more common. And you got to learn how to read the stones and what they're saying. Again, they were crafty in how they made an arrowhead. If you look at it, all the grooves. I actually think that they went a step further, and many will disagree, but if you used your imagination, that looks like an eye, a nose, almost the profile. But anyway, that's just my own theory. I know that they carved into rocks, and I know that they've carved arrowheads, so why not carve little faces into your arrowheads? This particular stone here, it's in the shape of an animal. Leg, eye, nose, almost like we would have little gifts or something. We give out gifts. Well, that's their form of gifts. But when you turn this stone and use your imagination, it becomes a little more animated. Eye, nose, mouth. Eye, nose, mouth. Turning stones. Some will see the animation Some will see the animal-like figure. Some won't see it at all. I see it, and I see what's going on here, and I know it's a language that I'm thinking they wanted us future people to understand. We don't have any textbooks from that far back. We only have what they've painted or carved in stones that people have discovered, but we don't realize it. But these discoveries are right underneath our feet. When we go in the fields looking for arrowheads, look, and you find an area that's populated with arrowheads, look into the stones a little deeper. You'd be surprised what you might find. Take this drone. I seen this. This was this is probably about 7, 8, 9 years ago. This drone, Radio Shack was selling it on Black Friday. It was the first time I'd ever seen one for sale, a drone in the public like this. But so I was like, I gotta go buy it. I had to have it. It's the same thing with back in the old days, and I don't mean back in 1950. I'm talking thousands of years ago. The people carved into stones, and they made these gifts. And these were what people bartered with. They didn't have currency and stuff, but they did have stones that they could carve into. This particular stone here was probably a tool. You'll notice it's very pointed like. Hope I'm not confusing anybody. But you also notice it's very lizard-like. Mouth, eye, gills. Very lizard-like. It's a turning stone. It's got some very unique shapes in it and stuff. But it was almost like it's their calling card. Lizard. Can you see the lizard? Again, these were gifts. These were people's property. This is what they had. They didn't have drones. They had stones. We have drones and stones now, so that's kind of cool. But it was their calling card. It's what they left us. For instance, I was walking down the street one day and I actually found this. And if you looked on Facebook a couple of years ago, this was the going thing. Everybody was this kind of neat little thing. It had it, but there's a little saying on the back: work hard and never give up. Work hard and never give up. Imagine the people that carved these stones, how much hard work was involved. But in the end, it's an art. But it's also a learning tool. We can learn from the past. Again, what I found about the early man is they were just like us. They were artistic. And this proves it right here. But please, look around. If you're an arrowhead hunter and you find arrowheads and you enjoy rock hunting, take a couple hours sometime and just take that area that you like to look for arrowheads in and take a bucket and look for some unique rocks and just see what you might find. These are something that are near and dear to my heart, and again, this is really why I developed Turning Stones. I didn't really want to have 2, 3, or 4 channels, and when I did really fall in love with flying drones, I wanted to combine the both. I enjoy photography, I enjoy the nature, and to me, the Turning Stones kind of fall right into that line. And the drones give us an opportunity to see them at a different angle. So that's the fun thing about it, and I figured why not combine them. So you guys, if you've enjoyed this content, please subscribe to my channel. I'm going to try to do 1 episode a week of Season of the Stone, at least through the cold season. and I'll put them in a playlist too, so they're always there. And hey, just wanted to show you little bit of a look into the past and some of the research I've done and what I've discovered. Again, I'm no expert. This is just my own opinion, and this is what I think that's out there. And I think that there's a lot more to be learned from turning stones. Have a good one, guys.
Turning stones, just turning stones into history.